Hi, my name is Hannah Skipper, and I'm going to be informing you guys about the history of Disneyland. Envision a mouse named Mickey in a magical realm that had profound impact on our world. Step into the enchanting narrative of Disney's remarkable adventure through time and creativity. The history of Disneyland will take you through the world of imagination, innovation, and unbelievable storytelling. These things are what shaped our beloved Disney into what it is now. In this speech, I will talk about Walt Disney and his life. Next, I will talk to you guys about Disneyland and where it came from. Finally, I will talk about Disneyland and how it is today and the economical impact that it has on our world. We all know about Disney and the impact it had on our childhood, but do we know the man that created Disney or even made Mickey Mouse? His name is Walter Elias Disney. He was born in 1901 in Chicago, Illinois. He grew up in Marceline, Missouri, which was a small Midwestern town. This Midwestern town is also what influenced Main Street, USA, and Disneyland, which is like the first thing you see once you get through the gates at Disney. He spent a lot of his free time cartooning and delivering newspapers with his brothers. It wasn't until he found a place for commercial arts and he was hired. That's where he met Ub Iwerks, which helped him create Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. Through that, they began to create Mickey Mouse cartoons, and they didn't have any sound at all, or music. They were just plain cartoons with Mickey Mouse in them, and they would sometimes include his friends, which were Donald Duck. Once the two of them began to make more cartoons, they came out with Steamboat Willie, which was a video of, a cartoon of Mickey steering a steamboat, and he was also whistling, dancing, and singing, and there's music in the background. This was actually the first Mickey cartoon to have sound and music in it. Now, if you watch some Disney movies, you will often see this little clip before the movie starts. Now that we know where Mickey Mouse originated from, do we know where the idea of Disneyland came from? Disney had the idea of starting a huge amusement park in LA. This was in 1950. That park did not open up until 1955, which was called Disneyland. He also had plans for a second park too, same as that one, but a little more bigger and for more people to go to. This was called Disney World. Now, since this was still in the works, when he died, it did not come out until 1971, which was in Orlando, Florida. Even though Disney became successful and very fast, it also had its cons. People and critics called Disney very cheap and not worth money. But this didn't stop Walt Disney from pursuing his Disneyland dreams. 9 former and current presidents came to visit Disneyland when it opened. Not only this, but the King and Queen of Nepal also visited. After 68 years, Disneyland still remains a high tourist attraction all around our globe. And it manages to keep people employed through its film studios, its resorts, and its hotels. Statistics show Disney provides 263,000 direct and indirect jobs to people, which is 1 out of 32 jobs in the state. Disneyland attracts over 1 million visitors every year. Because of this, it regenerates revenue for hotels, restaurants, transportation, and businesses that surround the park, Disney. At a higher rate, companies experience economical growth due to Disneyland and its park because they were surrounding it, or even the companies that don't surround it. $6.6 billion in tax revenue and $3.1 million in annual state and local tax revenue are helping to fund schools, law enforcement, parks, and many other things in Central Florida. Now that we know the economical things Disney has done, let's talk about the things that Disney has to make it magical. During Halloween and Christmas, Disney has these different things that guests can do when they get there, such as a parade, Mickey's Halloween Parade, and also a Christmas fantasy parade. They also added Downtown Disney as a way for people who kind of get overwhelmed with parks or just want to experience Disney without all of the rides. This is where you can find entertainment, you can shop, and you can also dine. It also includes the Walt Disney Store in there and many other stores in which you'll be lost in for hours. Now that you know the history of Disneyland and how it came to be and the man who created and started it all, Walter Elias Disney, throughout my speech I told the story of Walt Disney and how his love for cartooning overly impacts Disney and Disneyland as a whole. I informed the audience about the origin of Disneyland and how it all started. I explained the everlasting effect that Disneyland had on our economic system and how the park has grown since the 1950s. Because in the 1950s they didn't have, shops for people to go to, or they weren't having like Halloween parades and the park wasn't decorated in Halloween or Christmas stuff. Walt Disney once said, Disneyland is something that will never be finished, and I agree, because there's so many different things that Disney is made up of, and there's many different other things that they're putting together to make Disney even more of a fun, memorable place for kids and even adults. My references are PBS, PR Newsshire, and Britannica. Thank you for listening to my speech.